All right, Shalom Akim out there. First and foremost, before I start, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, that's the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai, that's the name of His beloved Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the elect, Ba'Shem, Harakah, Kodash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, man, this one right here gonna be a serious one, man. It's a lot of a lot of crazy things going on behind the scenes, but the title of this one is Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer, migration detention centers. Now I have the privilege of being around the Northern Kingdom. You know, a lot of Northern Kingdom brothers are in our camp, and the brother Dawa was putting us up on game because if these type of things may slip from your mind that is going on. Over here in these migrant detention camps, you know, our people Ephraim, which makes up the Northern Kingdom, which makes up the Latino and Native American tribes, the indigenous people of North, Central, and South America, they're being treated like, whoa. You think you're going through something in your daily life, you know? These people that's in these detention center camps, they're going through it. They're going through being treated inhumane, like Esau describes it. They're going through rape. They're going through no food, no water. They're going through sleep deprivations. They're going through it in those detention center camps. All right, and this is what this whole lesson is going to be about. Now, before I start, when you go to Hosea chapter 9, verse 13, it says, Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place. But Ephraim, the Northern Kingdom, the Latino Native American tribes, shall bring forth his children to the murderers. And that's exactly what is going on, because dealing with, remember that migration that took place where you had all those men and families coming from Central America, which the Central Americans make up the tribe of Zebulon. Now, the tribe of Zebulon, you've seen them migrating up to the United States, and then it was just after that it kind of got swept under the rug of all what was going on. But come to find out, these people are getting put in concentration camps. They call it migrant detention camps, but nah, man, these people are getting put in concentration camps, you know, and in these concentration camps, and in these concentration camps, they're getting treated like crap. They're getting treated like crap, and I'm gonna I got a couple videos, and I'm gonna hit the scriptures, and let me just put it out there what's going on with the tribe. Majority is the tribe of Zebulon, okay? But you have a mixture of Northern Kingdom there, but majority is the tribe of Zebulon. Zebulon is going through it, man. You know? So let's go up. Now, this guy right here you see on the screen, his name is Mike Pence. He's the vice president of the United States of America. He's the vice president. But let's listen what he has to say versus what's actually getting said about what's going on in these detention centers.
Pence went to the southern border today amid allegations that migrants are being held in.
So I'm sorry, brothers. Let me I think I put it down and mute down. I'm sorry.
Vice President Mike Pence went to the southern border today amid allegations that migrants are being held in squalid conditions. However, he tells a story that's quite a bit different from the one being told by Democrats and some government inspectors. Maria Villarreal.
Hey, Slock brothers, could y'all brothers hear and see everything correct? If so, could y'all brothers put it on the comment board, because I have my phone right here, but it's going in circles as if like nothing is being heard. So if brothers could put that up in there, that'd be cool. I'm sorry. Let me start it over though.
Vice President Mike Pence went to the southern border today amid allegations that migrants are being held in squalid conditions. However, he tells a story that's quite a bit different from the one being told by Democrats and some government inspectors. Maria Villarreal has been doing some checking of her own at the border.
The vice president spent hours touring Border Patrol facilities, including the Donna tent city near McAllen, Texas, where he and his entourage saw migrants sleeping on the floor.
So first off, as you already seen, Mike Pence immediately seen that the migrants are sleeping on the floor. You telling me that they don't, the United States of America ain't got enough money to at least provide cots, the things that you lay in, the little cots things, if I'm even saying that correct, but they automatically are laying on the floor.
Boys, I'm the Vice President. This is Mrs. Pence.
CBS News is blurring the faces of minor children in custody.
Are you comfortable? Are you being well taken care of?
7 Republican senators were with him, but not a single Democrat accepted the invitation to come along.
Each and every one of the children, each and every one of the parents that I spoke to told me they were being treated well.
So did you hear Mike Pence? He was going around asking the children, are you being treated good? Are you being treated well? And he's saying that all of them said they're being treated well. He also stated that in another interview, it's too many videos, there's so many of them, but in another interview I was watching amongst the brethren, he stated that he loved the compassion and the seriousness that his Border Patrol have for those people in the detention centers. Now I'm going to come back to this video right here. Let's move on to the next video, because you heard Mike Pence's opinion or his validation on what's going on in those detention centers. Now let's go to this next video right here, and we'll see if what he's saying versus what the people are saying, if it's of a truth.
But first, a new report is again casting a spotlight on the harsh conditions for migrant families and children who are being detained by the U.S. government near the Mexican border. William Brangham gets a first-hand account about what some children are dealing with at a detention facility southeast of El Paso.
That's exactly right, Judy. The Associated Press detailed conditions inside a Customs and Border Patrol detention center in Clint, Texas, where allegedly 250 infants, children, and teenagers are being held. According to the
There's more than 250 children, immigrants, and no, you seen when you going on to the border, there was thousands of immigrants. It was so many. It just looked like when you looking at a fucking beehive, and they're talking about only 200. No, it's way more people in them camps. Them camps are overflooded, and everything.
AP, there's not adequate food, water, or sanitation inside. The report describes teen mothers and other younger kids being asked to care for infants and toddlers on their own.
Did you hear that right there, man? It said there's not adequate food, water, or shelter. Listen to this very part he just said. He said teen mothers and little children are being asked to take care of the infant children. What the hell? A 12-year-old can't take care of an infant, man. They're not taught. That spirit, look, the spirit got this right here on the screen. They're not taught to be able to do such a thing. But what's going on when the what they call illegal immigrants, when Ephraim is coming up there, when the different tribes are going up to the border, and they're turning themselves in to these people thinking that everything will be all right. They're separating the adults from the children and the teens. The adults are in a totally different facility. They're getting snatched. Their children is getting snatched from them. And then their children, from infants all the way up to teens, are getting separated in a whole nother detention center. So the infants now are being told to be cared. I mean, the teens are being told to take care of the infants. That's what's going on over there. So that just shows you a big part of what's going on over there. All right, and a lot of them girls are being raped. Them teenage girls are getting raped. There's no adults around or nothing. It's crazy up in what's going on over there. It's going to continue further.
With little or no help from any adults.
I have to hear him say that again. I have to, because that's crazy.
Adults. Little or no help and toddlers, younger kids. The report describes teen mothers and other younger kids being asked to care for infants and toddlers on their own, with little or no help from any adults. Warren Binford is one of the lawyers that visited that Texas facility and spoke with the children being held inside.
So you see this devil, her fake sad face, even though she's a lawyer to try to help. But the scriptures say, let me just grab this real quick. Let me grab this real quick, brothers, man. This is why this woman, she's a lawyer to bring it out what's going on, the inhumaneness of what's going on in the camps. But don't be fooled by the devil. It's always a hidden agenda behind the devil's work. That lady must be making some type of money, or she's getting fame for herself. That's all it is. But the prophecy says this, Psalms 62. When you jump to Psalm 62 and let me see. You know what? Maybe it's not 62. I'll just type it in. Let me see. Shit. I don't know how to spell it. Let me see. Fall upon. Damn. Damn. I'm not the best speller at all, but I know it's in Psalms. Yep, Psalm 64:8. This is why that woman is the spirit is on that woman, because this prophecy comes to pass on her. Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. So the Edomites, the self-proclaimed white man, who was the devil according to the Bible, they tell on each other. Now listen to what this lady has to say concerning what's going on in these camps.
She's a law professor at Willamette University in Oregon. Professor Binford, thank you very much for being here. As I mentioned, you were inside this Texas facility. Can you just give us some sense of what it is you saw inside?
Yes, basically what we saw are dirty children who are malnourished, who are being severely neglected. They are being kept in inhumane conditions. They are essentially being warehoused, as many as 300 children in a cell, with almost no adult supervision.
But she said they're dirty children. You're hearing what she said, and then she just cut that they was talking about it's only like 256 people. She said it's 300 people in one cell. There are certain videos, I'm gonna go to the next video, that they can't even lay down and sleep because it's so many men in the cell that basically all they could do is stand.
Have children caring for other young children. For example, we saw a little boy in diapers, or he had no diapers on. He should have had a diaper on. He was 2 years old, and when I asked why he didn't have diapers on, I was told he didn't need it. He immediately urinated, and he was in the care of another child. Children cannot take care of children. And
children urinating and defecating on each other.
Yet that's how they are trying to run this facility. The children are hardly being fed anything nutritious, and they are being medically neglected. We're seeing a flu outbreak, and we're also seeing a lice infestation. We have children sleeping on the floor. It's the worst conditions I've ever witnessed in several years of doing these inspections.
What you're describing is really hard to sort of put our heads around, that this is inside a U.S. government.
Hey, right, that's right. The kingdom is within. Yep, it's certain videos out there that they're making the children drink out of the toilet, or the water out of the toilet. You know, the Edomites, they created these detention facilities for these people who was coming over here, but they're treating them like crap when they get put in there. These people are getting treated worse than actual men that's in prison over here in the United States. They're getting treated way worse, as you heard this lady speak it.
Government facility. I wonder, what do we know about, where are these children's parents? Were they coming across the border alone? Did they come with their families and separated? How did they get there?
Almost none of the children that we interviewed had come across the border themselves alone. Well, essentially, they came across the border with family, and they are trying to be reunited with family who are living in the United States. Almost every child that I interviewed had family, parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents, siblings here in the United States who are waiting for them and are ready to care for them.
We know the American Academy of Pediatrics, among many others, as you are testifying, said these are not the kinds of facilities for children. And my understanding is that under federal law, these children are supposed to only be kept for about 72 hours and then transferred to Health and Human Services facilities elsewhere. Is that going to happen with these children? Would that be a better outcome for these children? What do you know about their future?
You know, the goal for all of these children is eventually to place them with their family. The facilities that you're saying they're supposed to be transferred to, those are not required by law. That's just the way that the administration is doing it. These children could be placed with their families immediately if we wanted to do that. And so basically what we're doing is we're taking children away from their family at the border. We're putting them in inhumane conditions in Border Patrol facilities where they shouldn't be at all, not even for a few hours. And that 72 hours, that's the maximum that someone is supposed to be kept there. And the children are supposed to be moved through these facilities as expeditiously as possible.
So you see that Esau have all these different set of regulations that he set for these detention facilities that he's not even upholding them. The children only supposed to be there for a period of 72 hours, and that's not being upheld to its standard. As you hear, a bunch amongst and their families are being separated one from another. Now, the reason why this is all going down is we all know. It's prophecy, and it's the curses, all right? That's why I read, well, let's go back to Hosea chapter 9, verse 13. It says, Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer. Now, the murderer is talking about the Edomites, the self-proclaimed white men. That is the murderer, okay? Now, what's going on these borders, these people are traveling from whatever country, whether they came from Mexico or whether they came from South America or whether they came from Central America. They coming up to these borders, and they actually turning themselves in over to this Border Patrol people, man. There's videos on that. Me and the brothers was watching it, thinking everything would be okay, you know. And as soon as they get in over there, Esau is separating them from their family. So Ephraim, the northern kingdom, is bringing their children to the murderers, man. You know, thinking it's all good, trusting in thy enemy. Ecclesiastes 12:10 say, never trust thy enemy. They was better off staying wherever they were, but now they done got themselves into a bunch of crap that they wish that they could get out of. All right, so you heard it from this devil's mouth. This devil right here, you heard it from her mouth. What's going on over in the detention centers, man? All right, now. Why is it going down? A simple, basic scripture, but full of power. It's in Deuteronomy 28:15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. So the Most High commanded us to follow him, to be obedient. And if you do not follow him, it says that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So that's exactly what's going on. The curses is overtaking them, just as it overtook the Negroes, the Southern Kingdom, the Haitians, the West Indians. It overtook them. Now this is the curse that's happening to them right now. Deuteronomy 28:32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail for longing for them all the day long. So they thinking that you got our people believing that they're going to receive their children within 72 hours, but they never even get them. Now, there's another opinion that me and the brothers came out with, which is just our opinion. But we strongly believe that, let me finish this verse and I'll give that point. It says, and shall fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in their hand. They don't have no might to get their children back. All right? And even themselves is getting put in inhumane conditions. Now, this is what we strongly believe. When you checking out these videos, it's different various videos of Mike Pence walking through these detention centers. But you see these guys that's all behind him? You see these guys that's all behind him? Me and the brothers came to the conclusion that these guys, they're auctioning off our people, man. They gotta be. You got these are buyers. These are buyers behind him, behind Mike Pence. You know? It's different other videos, all these different, what they call Republicans and all that. Nah, man. You got to read between the lines. Our people are going over there in these camps, and an Edomite devil is auctioning them for the pedophile rings, for sacrifices, all that. Because there's videos out there when there's coming up hundreds and hundreds of children are just going missing. They're going fucking missing. And nobody doesn't know. Hundreds and hundreds of migrating children is going missing. You know? Just reading in between the lines, hey, just give him a spiritual opinion on it. But that's the curses, man. That is the curses on us, and it's eating us up, like it said. It said these curses are going to overtake you, man. They're going to overtake you. When you jump to Deuteronomy 28:45, it's crazy as hell to hear, but man, it's just a blessing to be in His truth, because the Most High is judging the hell out of our people, man. And you could be one of the Northern Kingdom men stuck in those detention centers. You know, right now, can't eat or sleep or nothing. Deuteronomy 28:45 says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hast hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to keep his commandments, his statutes, and his which he commandeth thee. All right. So, because we haven't kept the statute, laws, and the commandments, and we just been doing whatever we want to do, Deuteronomy 28:41, another curse said, thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. So Ephraim is experiencing their children going to captivity once again. We all understand during the time of the 1700s, 1800s, we was dealing with that. Our children get snatched. The Northern Kingdom was dealing with their children getting snatched and brought into boarding schools. So as well as the Southern Kingdom getting brought into boarding schools, or more just being put as slaves. All right. Let's go to this next video I have here, and let's play and let's see what's going on in this video.
Next, as immigration agents prepare for sweeping raids across the country, Vice President Mike...
Right, because now we all understand, starting last Sunday, the Edomites introduced a new bill which allows Esau, the self-proclaimed white man, to come and gather up all what they call illegal immigrants in the United States, and they've already started that. It's a lot of people already getting snatched up and getting brought right to these detention centers. But check this out. Me and the brother was putting this part together. Remember, it was a couple years back. I don't know if it was in you brothers' states that's around the United States, but for surely I know in California. I can speak for California. Just a couple years back, they passed a law to where the what they call illegal immigrants, the Northern Kingdom, can go up to the DMV and register for a license. All right. Now, remember, the scriptures say, I just quoted it earlier, never trust thy enemy. Never trust this dude, right? The scriptures say that. Now, we put it together of that the Edomites ain't doing nothing for your good, for nothing for the tribe's good. The Edomites don't care about us, man. What they did was get on record where all these illegal immigrants are by allowing them to get an ID. So now they're registered into the system, which making it very easy, way more easier, right, for them to gather up these people who they call illegal immigrants over here in the United States, starting last Sunday. See? You see? The devil. Let's play this video.
Pence came face to face.
You know what? I have to. I'm sorry, brothers. I got to, man. The scriptures say it, and I gotta get it out, man. I have to, man. Oh, you know what? I gotta probably put in Sirach. When you jump to the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10, it says, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right, it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed to him. That's exactly how he painted these detention centers for these immigrants. He made it seem like it was good and that they would be able to get over here in the United States. It says, beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether been wiped away. So now the Northern Kingdom is in them concentration camps, and they understanding that, fuck, this dude is wicked as shit. He's wicked as fuck. This dude, but let's play this next video. Check it out. They'll say it themselves.
Next, as immigration agents prepare for sweeping raids across the country, Vice President Mike Pence came face-to-face with the border.
Damn, another solid point from the kingdom within. Shalom to all you brethren on the board as well. I'm not able to grab all y'all scriptures. I'm going to focus on this lesson. But for sure, another point, I bet they getting chipped, bro. And yeah, bro, they getting chipped too. I believe that. They're chipping the hell out of some of them, whatever agenda they got for certain of them.
Reality. Visiting 2 migrant detention facilities in Texas, seeing dozens of men in holding pens, calling this, quote, very tough stuff. It comes as thousands rallied against those coming raids, this protest in Chicago. ABC's David Wright reporting from the White House tonight.
As ICE prepares to round up thousands of undocumented immigrants Sunday, Vice President Mike Pence toured 2 detention centers near the Texas border.
This is tough stuff. I knew we would see a system that is overcrowded. It's overwhelmed.
Some of the cages standing room only. The heat sweltering, the smell overpowering.
So they over there standing room only. It's hot as hell and it smells.
The men have no ready access to water, no cots to sleep on, just the concrete floor. Some of them said they'd been here 40 days.
We are not a terrorist.
The Vice President.
You see that? But Mike Pence was just talking about, this guy Mike Pence was just saying that these people are being treated well in these facilities, man. You see? This dude is Esau's, this dude is truly the devil, man. This dude is truly Satan, man. You just heard our people saying, they're not a terrorist. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not a terrorist. You know? It's no standing room. It stinks. A lot of them been there 40 days. They just on stuck mode in there. All right, you know? So, like the scriptures say, never trust your enemies. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed of this dude. You know? Let's play this video some more. I'm going to go back what it was saying.
Standing room only. The heat sweltering, the smell overpowering. The men have no ready access to water, no cots to sleep on, just the concrete floor. Some of them said they'd been here 40 days.
We are not a terrorist.
The Vice President also met with children being held in a different area.
Are you comfortable? Are you being well taken care of? Okay.
Pence's upbeat exchange in stark contrast to the chilling first-hand accounts of young detainees filed last month in federal court in California. One 17-year-old from Guatemala told his court-appointed lawyer, "It's always cold in the cage."
Different from what we hear from many of the critics. I couldn't be more impressed with the compassionate work that our Customs and Border Protection are doing here at this facility.
Man, did you hear that? That was that statement I just said earlier. This dude just clearly said that he couldn't be more impressed of what's going on over there. That's how you know the Edomites are the devil. This dude is Satan, man. This dude is truly a demon. Look at this dude. All right, so, you know, it goes deeper. You can check it out, but there's some crazy stuff going on over there. There's video of women getting raped. All type of things is going down in them in them camps, man. Let's go back to in Hosea chapter 9, verse 11. Now we finna get in the scriptures, and I'm going to close it out. It says, Hosea chapter 9, verse 11, it says, as for Ephraim, their glory shall fly away as a bird, right? From the birth and womb and from the conception. Meaning the Most High was going to take the glory from Ephraim, all right? The northern kingdom was going to be ashamed just as the southern kingdom is ashamed. Now, the start of the northern kingdom being ashamed was when the Lord kicked the northern kingdom out of the land. And sure enough, the southern kingdom followed right behind. That was the start of the Lord taking away their glory. Now you see very well how what's going on in them camps, that they're really shameful. It says, though they bring up their children, yet will I bereave them, that there shall not be a man. Yea, woe also to them when I depart from them. So the Lord has departed from Ephraim. Remember, the scripture say that Ephraim is given unto idols, leave him alone. The Lord ain't dealing with, if you want to worship Guadalupe, a lot of them Ephraimites, they worship Guadalupe, they worship all these different saints. So the Lord's recompensing them by having Esau having his way with them in them concentration camps. All right, the Lord has departed from Ephraim, and the only ones that has the Lord now is the elect. All right, it says Ephraim as I saw in Tyrus is planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer, as we seen. Give them, O Lord, what wilt thou give? Give them a miscarrying womb and dry breasts. All of their wickedness is in Gilgal, for there I hated them. See that? The Lord ain't playing with wickedness, man. It says, for their wickedness of their doings, I will drive them out of my house. I will love them no more. All their princes are revolters. You see what happens when the Lord turns his back on you? You see? The Lord say, and this is it. This is it. They're stuck in these goddamn things. Fucking through. They're fucking through over there, man. You know, and the Esau just having his way with them.
Doing it.
He having his way with these people. You got these people crying over what's going on. They're crying over what's going on. You know, the people who's fighting, they have all type of protesters. In certain videos, they have certain type of protesters outside of what's going on in these detention centers. They out there protesting. That protesting ain't doing nothing, because the Lord is doing that to Ephraim. Mainly in a big bulk of that is the tribe of Zebulun. All right, which is the Central Americans. It says Ephraim is smitten, the root is dried up, they shall bear no fruit. Yea, though they bring forth, yet will I slay even the beloved fruit of their womb. My power will cast them away, because they did not hearken unto him. That's why. When you do not follow and worship Yahweh Shema Shai, the Lord will cast you away. He will put these curses on you, and we see that. So the southern and the northern kingdom is going through it. It says, and they shall be wanderers among the nations. You know? So that's what's going on with our people, man. You know? Now, this is the last scripture I got right here, because even though our people are going through that, or whatever the case is, you know, they're going through all this inhumane and Esau just having his way. I strongly, like I said, I strongly believe them children are being auctioned off. They're being sacrificed, you know, and they're getting separated from their families. They don't know what the hell is gonna come. One of the dudes said, we barely get 3 tacos a day, and that's it, and we can't lay down there drinking from toilets, all etc. Man, a lot of stuff is going on, man. You know. As a matter of fact, that was a good one right there. Dyed garments from Basra. Hosea 13:16, it says, Samaria, which represents the northern kingdom, shall become desolation, for she have rebelled against her power. They shall fall by the sword. Their infants shall be dashed into pieces, and their women with child should be ripped. Woo! Should be ripped up. See? Woo! The Lord is not playing. The Lord ain't playing, man. The Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, was not playing with our people when he decided to do when he gave us the statute, laws, and the commandments. He was not playing with us. It was for us to obey or go through it. So when you jump to Isaiah 51:12, because even though our people are going through that, it ain't going to last forever. The Lord is going to save us out of this. It's just that we got to go through, we got to own up to our sins like a man, you know? And now the people that's in them camps, they got to suffer for what they have did to the Lord, even though they don't even understand, you know. It's Isaiah 51:12. It says, even I am he that comforteth you. Who art thou that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die? Should be afraid of a man that shall die, and the son of man which shall be made as grass as grass. Now, speaking to us men who do understand the Heavenly Father now, we should not be afraid of Esau and his detention center camps and you know what it is that he could do to us. Even we know that he has loads of concentration camps ready to gather up the people. We shouldn't be afraid of that, man. This guy's gonna die like grass dies, you know. It says, because that's what it is. What you see what's going on in these camps is going to come in a full scale dealing with the concentration camps to the United States. And some of us, brethren, according to Revelations 2 and 9, we're going to end up in these camps. But we shouldn't be afraid of this damn Edomite. It says, and the Son of Man, which should be made as grass, and forgettest that the Lord thy Maker that hath stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and has fear continually every day because the fury of the oppressor. So the Lord is saying, look, man, why are you forgetting me? I created you. You know, I created the heavens and the earth, and you're fearing every day because of the fury of the oppressor or the fury of the Edomite. The Lord is asking us, why are you doing that? It says, as if he were ready to destroy, and where is the fury of the oppressor? So the Lord is saying, why are you scared of this guy as if he was ready to destroy? The scriptures clearly tell you that that the Most High, that life and death is in the power of the hands of the Most High. If you get put to death, that was the Lord that did that. There's no man on this planet Earth that could put you to death without the Lord sanctioning it. So the Lord is behind putting anybody to death. All right? So why are you afraid of Esau like he's the one that could destroy you? It's the Lord. And if you're doing that which is right before the Lord, he won't destroy you. But if you're not doing that, of course, the fury of the oppressor is going to destroy you. You're going to be in these concentration camps like this. And you're going to be destroyed with the Edomite devil like Mike Pence looking over you as you destroyed. It says the captive exile hastened to be loosed. We want to get out of this kingdom. We don't want to see our people like that. Of course not. But what could we do if it's the hand of the Lord? What we can do, we just hasten to be loosed. The captive exile hastened to be loose. We want to get the fuck out of here so our people won't have to go through that no more. It says, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. That's what we pray to the Lord for. We don't die in the pit and that our bread should not fail. But I am the Lord thy power that divideth the seas, whose ways roareth. The Lord of hosts is his name. Yahweh is his name. And his son name is Yahweh Shai. It says, and I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. All right, this is for us to do now. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunk in the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. All right, we've been through slavery. The northern kingdom is going through concentration camps right now. And then there's a future test when Esau is going to try to implement the New World Order dealing with the concentration camps, you know. It says, there is none to guide her. So we have drunken the cup of the fear of the Lord already. We already did that. We're finna enter into the last tests of drinking the cup, and then we're done. It says, there is none to guide her among the sons of whom she have brought forth, neither is there any that taketh her by the hand, all the sons that she have brought up. Esau don't care for us. None of these nations care for us. It says, these two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? See? All these things is coming onto us, and the heathen don't care. It says, thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fear of the Lord, thy rebuke of thy power. Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted and drunk it, but not with wine. Now the Lord is saying, hear this. All of us that's been getting jacked up, you know, from our people that's in these camps to what's going to go on to us in the near future. It says, thus saith the Lord power, the power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling. Even the dregs of the cup of my fury, thou shalt no more drink it again. We entering into that stage, man. All right? We're entering into that stage. You know? It says, Slock Brothers, let me see. Esau's a mad little girl. Keep buffering and skipping the video. Ah, damn, the video keep buffering and skipping. Goddamn devil. Yeah, he got me at a low-ass fucking frequency, old demon. Hopefully y'all brothers can still hear. Could y'all brothers still hear and everything? Just put it on the comment board. It says, but I will put into the hand of them that afflict thee. So this is what's finna happen to Esau. It says, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that I may go over, and that thou hast laid thy body as the ground, as a street to them that went over. So Yahweh Shemel Shai is finna put all these curses on Esau, man. He's gonna be in a fucking, we're gonna get him soon. But for right now, we gotta suffer what it is that the Lord. Damn. Fucking demon, man. I wouldn't even know how to. I wouldn't know how to even. I would have to just chop it. You know what? I'm finna close it out anyway. Slock Brothers, man. Keep fucking pausing. Esau, yeah, he going in. But yeah, man, I pretty much hit the point anyway. I'm gonna end up closing it out. Esau finna pay for what he has did. This damn demon Mike Pence is finna pay for what he has did. You know, etc., man. So yeah, man, I just wanted to put brothers up on game. What's going on in these concentration camps, you know, and what Esau is doing. He may keep doing it, but the Heavenly Father gonna soon get this damn demon, you know. But yeah, I'm gonna close it out with that. I'm gonna say Barak Yahweh, Barak Shai, Shalom Akim Step, Shalom.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim that's out there on four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakal Kadash, Barak Dum. And that was a lesson brought to you by GMS. Behold, I come quickly. You know, he's part of the LA camp, the second LA camp, because we have 3 LA camps. Okay. And I think that most of us in the know already know this, but we have one that speaks Spanish and is a Spanish-speaking church, because this is the real church, okay? And then you have the first one, and then you have his camp, which is set up. Now, they just recently removed his channel, GMS Ancient of Days 2. So now it's GMS Ancient of Days 4, in case you didn't get the memo. And he still uploads videos to GMS Behold I Come Quickly. So newer channels set up to catch the street lessons. But nonetheless, though, you know, we're taking a good look at the fortress ceasing from Ephraim, which is a part of Isaiah chapter 17 prophecy, as well as 2nd Esdras chapter 16. And when you look very carefully into these books, it mentions the places that were going to be attacked at the very end. Babylon is mentioned twice because, of course, it mentions Egypt and Babylon. So we know who the king of Babylon is. We've established Donald J. Trump, and we also have established that martial law would be implemented. Well, that's what's happening to the fortress ceasing from Ephraim, in the essence of the northern kingdom, right? Because that's what these migration centers are, which are really FEMA camps. Let's just call it what it is, FEMA camps. And, you know, it's a testing ground. First, they're going to test it on the northern kingdom and pretty much anybody else, you know. And you can best believe they've been microchipping people. They did that during Hurricane Katrina. They were chipping people in those domes. Why do you think all the sporting events and live concert events are no longer in the outskirts of town, such as Arco Arena in Sacramento? Now they're inside town on J Street, like at the Golden One Center or Wells Fargo Center or other places like that. You know, and I'm just kind of referencing Sacramento, but it's happening to a lot of cities that these banks now own these sporting events. So what are they doing with these ones that are on the outer skirts of town? You guessed it. They are getting those places ready for the FEMA detention centers. They're going to use them, and they're going to create events. Last year was the car fire here in Reading, and then sure enough, the closed down Kmart became a FEMA relocation center. They had well, they called it like a place to seek shelter, you know, but local assistance center became FEMA at Kmart. You know, they like to change around the words because they won't just say FEMA camp, or they won't just say Camp FEMA, you know, because people know those names, you know, so they have to be careful with the wording. But pretty much, though, you hear the word FEMA, you can best believe that Esau's up to no good. You know, don't trust it. You know, it's kind of like dial 911 as a joke, man. No, man, you don't go to Teeman for help. You know, you depend on the Most High. You know, you don't call the cops. You know, I mean, the people do call the cops, and like everything else, though, man, if you're detained or whatever, you do what you can to cooperate with them. You ain't trying to go off on them. Yeah, try to go, man, fuck the police, you know, and just going off on them. No, man, you know, you cooperate with them. Yes, sir. You know, just like you would any other authority figure. But nonetheless, though, what's happening, though, is they're getting detained and being put in these centers. But how are they going to know if they're coming in illegally again, right? No, because they put a microchip in them. And they really don't have no choice. But you see, this is the 2/3 that the Most High doesn't want. It's a judgment of the Most High. The fortress shall also cease from Ephraim in that day, and the kingdom from Damascus and from the people of Syria. And what is this they've been saying since 2011? Assad must go. Isn't that the utter rhetoric that Assad must step down? Assad must go, just like they did to Muammar Gaddafi? Because they want to remove anyone who is in direct opposition. And I stated before, you know, it is just from my observation of things, knowing that the 2/3 are very much involved with this war, World War III, and just knowing that the 2/3 are part of the militaries of the world, I wouldn't be the least surprised if Bashar al-Assad and the al-Assad family turn out to be Jakes. You know you have Jakes already in Syria. You know that. And you know that we've been scattered among Syria. We've been scattered among the whole 4 quarters of the earth. And this is a judgment of the Most High. You know, here it is, we've gone out, and yet our people still want to worship idols. Just like in good times, man. They want to pray to Caesar Borgia. They don't want to give up that image. They don't want to be on the outcast and say, well, that's not the image of the Most High, so I'm not coming here to worship. You know, they don't want to stand out. But we stand out. We tell our people, man, that ain't the image of the Most High. He wasn't a so-called white man. Nonetheless, though, what's going on, though, is very serious. It's about the mark of the beast, man. It's right around the corner. And this thing could be out by 2020. You know, Apostle Tahar has already made mention of it. You know, he just did a video, which we'll take a look at that in just a bit here as I go to the screencast and then look at other videos. But this is very serious, though. You know, they are deliberately destroying the cash system, and the cryptocurrency is taking over the so-called U.S. dollar. You know, a lot of places are going cryptocurrency, and this is all designed on purpose. They wanted to crash the U.S. dollar system, and it's Amalek that's doing it. You know, because they have a new world order system. But if you listen too much, you know, when it comes to alternative media such as the X22 report and others, though, you take in the meat and spit out the bones. Of course, Donald Trump is not going against the deep state. He is the deep state, if you believe there's a such thing as a deep state. He is Amalek, if you will. He's with them. He's just the guy wearing the Ronald McDonald suit. But he's doing exactly what Amalek wants to do. So he's not this opposition guy that's trying to get everything on track. No. He's with them. He's helping them to make it happen. You know how this political system works. You know that they try to do everything they can to make it look like the two oppose each other, but they only oppose each other on certain issues, but all the rest, they agree with each other. Like Barack Obama was the one that started this war with Syria, if you want to be technical. And Donald Trump followed in suit, attacked Syria twice so far. You know, directly attacked them, but then was supporting all these other terror groups. Well, then pretend so, oh yeah, we got to bring the troops home and we got to pull out Syria. Well, we can always go back because he is Amalek. He's with the Amalekites. He's married to an Amalekite. The Rothschilds bailed him out, you know. But seriously, though, Ephraim, which is representative of the northern kingdom, but you could say all Israel, all Yashala, is going to be caught in this judgment. The fortress shall cease from Ephraim and the kingdom from Damascus. And we can see that in the works right now. And you'll also hear wars, rumors of wars, you know. Asia was mentioned in 2nd Esdras chapter 16. And you can definitely see that, you know, pretty much, though, there's been a war, trade wars going on with China. But also, they're always threatening North Korea, which is Ammon. And that's also mentioned in Jeremiah chapter 49. See how this all correlates? You know, the Ammonites are going to get caught in this too, which is mostly North Korea for right now. But then you already know what happened to Japan, which are also Ammonites. You know, they had the A-bomb dropped on them. But these newer weapons, the weapons of his indignation, are much more powerful. There's a big difference between the atomic bomb and the Trident missile alone. But now you got hypersonic missiles, which Russia has. You know, and like everything else, you know that the S-400s are a done deal. You know, pretty much Turkey has them, so they are threatening Turkey, Gomer, and all his bands to not sell them the F-35s. That's okay. He's already looked into the Su jets from Russia. Magog shall be in a guard unto them. So we can see all that Bible prophecy happening. But the big one is the mark. The time is coming where, you know, the elect, the 1/3, are not going to take that mark, no matter what, even if you must die. I'm willing to die, and I think that anybody within the 1/3, we know that anybody in the 1/3 is willing to die resisting the mark. We're just simply not going to take it. We're not taking that mark. We are totally separate from this world. And we definitely ain't with all the philosophies of this world. So like everything else, though, I'm going to switch over to screencast, you know, pretty much looking at wars, rumors of wars, the mark, a big one, and just, this is getting very, very close.
The U.S. says it hopes to resume denuclearization talks with North Korea despite Pyongyang's anger at Washington's continued war games in the region. U.S. State Department said that Washington looked forward to resuming negotiations, but will this time try to make up progress that is part quietly and behind the scenes. Remarks come while North Korea accuses the U.S. of breaching the spirit of negotiations by planning a new round of joint military exercises with South Korea. Pyongyang says drills are a rehearsal for war. North says it's gradually losing justifications to follow through earlier commitments made with Washington. And joining us now for this news review is Jennifer Chang, our Press TV correspondent, joining us out of Seoul, Korea, and Jason Unruhe, political commentator and analyst, joining us out of Ontario, Canada. Welcome you both to the program. Now, if I could, Jennifer, give us the latest what we know, reactions pouring in now.
Well, of course, the North Koreans are no fools. They know that the upcoming exercise scheduled from August 5th to the 23rd is a rehearsal for invasion. It could be a surprise attack. That's what they called it when they issued their two statements saying that they are not going to put up with the U.S. not keeping its promises of suspending its military drills here on the Korean Peninsula with the South Korean military. This was one of the agreements reached at the first U.S.-North Korea summit last year in June between President Trump and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And the North made it clear that the two leaders had also recommitted to that mutual agreement of the U.S. and South Korea suspending their military exercises in exchange for a freeze on North Korea's nuclear and long-range missile tests, which of course the U.S. fears greatly, because if a long-range missile can carry a nuclear warhead to the U.S., which U.S. experts recently said is the case, from North Korea, then that means that gives tremendous leverage over the U.S. On Pyongyang's part. And so the U.S. is determined to stop any long-range missile testing by Pyongyang. But Pyongyang is hinting that it will resume its long-range missile tests and its nuclear tests, which are being done to show the U.S. that it is advancing its capability all the time, every day. Now, of course, the South Korean intelligence agency has not spotted any suspicious activity at its long-range missile testing site in the northwest of North Korea, nor has it seen any kind of suspicious activity at its missile research center outside Pyongyang. But the North can easily resume its nuclear and missile testing. In the failed Hanoi summit in February, it agreed to dismantle its Yongbyon nuclear reactor. Earlier, it had agreed to dismantle its Dongchangli missile engine testing site. But all of these offers were rejected by the Trump administration. And of course, the North blamed the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and the U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton. U.S. President Trump appears to have been swayed by those two at the Hanoi summit. And one day before North Korea issued the two statements on Tuesday, saying that it is going to resume its nuclear and missile testing because this has not been committed to paper, and the U.S.-South Korea military alliance exercises have not been committed to paper by Washington, so it feels it can go ahead with them. Just one day before it issued those two statements, Mike Pompeo went on the air on Fox News with Sean Hannity and said he would like North Korea to come to the negotiating table in the upcoming working level talks between the U.S. and North Korea with some creative ideas, with some differences from what they did in Hanoi, which obviously upset the North Koreans because they want a step-by-step denuclearization process. And one of the problems with Hanoi is that Trump demanded a large deal where the North Koreans would just give up all their nuclear and missile programs, their chemical, biological weapons programs, for the sanctions relief that is strangling their economy and preventing them from going into the economic development. And on June 30th, just 16 days ago, before the North Koreans issued the statements, the two statements, just 16 days before that, the two were seemingly going to do that with working level talks, you know, make some kind of agreement where they could go step by step. But now the U.S. is not keeping its side of the deal. They are again, you know, indicating, Mike Pompeo is indicating on Fox News that he doesn't like that step-by-step approach. He wants fully verified denuclearization, final denuclearization. He wants the big deal, and that obviously upset the North Koreans, and now the working level talks are in jeopardy, as well as the whole U.S.-North Korea denuclearization agreement.
Okay, thank you for that update, Jennifer. I'm going to swing over to you now, Jason. It seemed like such, nice, pretty much unprecedented progress was made between Trump and Kim Jong-un. So why wasn't the Trump administration able to seize the moment? What happened to that momentum?
Well, I frankly think this is due to the very indecisive manner in which Donald Trump leads the United States. One day he says one thing, and then another he says the complete opposite. He says that there will be fire and fury, and then the next day it's so we can get along and hammer out a peace deal. There seems to be no ideological consistency to this president, seemingly at any point in time. I think it is fair to say that he's probably being pulled in many directions, and he's not putting his foot down and making a decision as to what the U.S. policy is going to be. I am reminded of when George W. Bush called himself the great decider, and that's what the president is supposed to be. He's supposed to be the one that takes in all the information from his advisors, diplomats, etc., and then plots down a course as to what the country is going to do in all matters, particularly and probably most importantly, that in foreign relations. And that's not what we have been seeing from this president, who frequently flip-flops back and forth depending on what his mood is, and according to many insider publications, depending on who it is the last person that he even spoke to. And this is probably very frustrating for the DPRK, who has to sit there and wonder which Donald Trump are they going to deal with today? The one who wants a deal to parade around as his greatness, or the one that wants to invade them and destroy them? This is very difficult to be diplomatic with someone who is so completely inconsistent. At least if he was just completely hostile, they would know how to deal with it. If he was very conforming, then they would know how to deal with that too. But the fact that he keeps going back and forth between the two makes it very difficult for the DPRK to diplomatically handle the situation. And that's exactly what this is. The DPRK has tried numerous times to come to a reasonable, rational deal where both sides can carefully take steps towards a peaceful situation between the two countries. But then as soon as they come to some kind of unofficial agreement, the United States, or particularly U.S. President Donald Trump, turns around and just completely sabotages the entire thing with an act like this, having the working on military exercises.
But why? I mean, what's wrong with this? It sounds like the most logical thing would be this kind of diplomacy or this kind of process. Give a little, get a little, give a little, give a little. I mean, get a little. So, I mean, it's a great process proposed by the North. Why would the North, or why would the U.S. for that matter, think that any other thing, any other method could suffice? I mean, why would the North completely break down its nuclear missile program if it's to get nothing toward the very end of it? And then what if the U.S. does, especially after what it saw with the Iran nuclear accord? There is really no credibility coming out of Washington right now.
No, frankly, there is no credibility, and it's the way the United States has been able to act for decades. They've been able to make whatever demands that they want, and everybody will bow to them right away, or there's going to be consequences to them. We saw this with this ongoing situation with tariffs with various countries around the world. The U.S. demands immediate obedience, and they see it as nothing short of weakness to engage in any kind of give-and-take style situation, because they have been the unquestioned military and economic power of the world for a number of decades, and with that kind of power comes that kind of arrogance to believe that not only do they have the power to do so, but they have the right to do so as well.
And before we go, Jennifer, really quick, in less than a minute, when was the last time we saw this much pretty much willingness out of the North? I mean, I don't remember really when we did, but this is a great opportunity that could be passed up during the Trump administration, isn't there?
This is a tremendous situation for peace that they're really...
That message, that question was for Seoul. Jennifer Chang over there. Sorry, Jay, real quick. Go ahead, Jennifer.
That was a tremendous opportunity that's being messed up by the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, because for Donald Trump, it's a tremendous opportunity to be reelected. I mean, the American public gives him so much credit for all the progress he made in diplomacy with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and he would like to be reelected. Many people say this is a show that he is doing with the North Korean leader, this stepping into North Korea on June 30th so he can get reelected next year as U.S. president. And then after he gets reelected, that he might even invade North Korea because he's been reelected. And he doesn't need the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un anymore. And North Korea knows that. So when they see this big military drill going on next month with this hardline U.S. commander here in South Korea who commands all the U.S. forces, who advocates invading North Korea if the North doesn't denuclearize, they know that there could be a surprise attack, that the U.S. might invade them. attempt some kind of surgical strike on their nuclear and missile facilities, for instance.
We're out of time. I want to thank you both for joining us. Jennifer Chang, that is out of Seoul, and Jason Unruhe joining us out of Ontario, Canada. Viewers, that's a wrap for the segment of Your Press TV's News Review. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye for now.
A 69-year-old man is dead after a violent confrontation with police in the Tacoma Northwest Detention Center. And this was a facility that is currently holding migrants that have been separated from their parents, and some of them on the way to be deported back to Latin America. According to reports, William Von Spronson of Tacoma, Washington, was found dead Saturday morning after being shot at by police. The man was attempting to use incendiary weapons to set fire to the migrant detention center. Police say the attempt failed, and then the man used the device to set fire to vehicles in the parking lot, where he was eventually confronted by officers who opened fire. He was also attempting to light a nearby propane tank as well. Now, local media in the area who spoke to people who knew the man said that Von Spronson lived on the nearby Vashon Island, and that he had previous encounters with police, and that he had written a letter to a newspaper that said there was laws regulating every little detail of our existence. So he was very much concerned about big government and its intrusion into people's lives. Now, last year he was also arrested for assaulting a police officer at the same detention facility when the officer was engaged in arresting another protester. The Seattle Times also contacted one of Van Spronson's longtime friends, Deb Bartley, who described him as an anarchist and anti-fascist intent on dying in the aftermath of his attack. As the Times wrote, "He was ready to end it. I think this was a suicide, but then he was able to do it in a way that spoke to his political beliefs. I know he went down there knowing he was going to die." She and other friends of Van Spronson got letters in the mail just saying goodbye. He also wrote what she refers to as a manifesto, which she declined to discuss in detail, but predicted would be taken by authorities. Now, Governor Jay Inslee of the Democratic Party, who is currently running in the Democratic primary, did have a comment to make on the attack. Along with many Americans, I object with every fiber of my being to Donald Trump's inhumane treatment of immigrants in America. But if today's attack was motivated by opposition to the federal government's actions, it was totally unacceptable. Violence is not acceptable. Our democracy is strong and we are a resilient people. But it is, again, unacceptable to turn to violence. We must be better than that and find nonviolent ways of pursuing the better world we want, as many groups are doing. Now, his actions do come as the United States government, and particularly ICE, is preparing to raid many, many immigrants all across the country and deport them in one huge mass. And this is something that Donald Trump has promised that he was going to do. So in the coming days, or at least in the past few days or so, this has been happening. There's been mass arrests by ICE agents arresting undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants, what have you, and then deporting them from the country, many of them going to these kinds of detention centers. At this point, it does seem like the man was politically motivated to attack the center as a part of a resistance to the way that these people have been treated by the U.S. government. Many of them are very inhumane conditions. Much of that can be found in many other videos. That information is available, so I don't need to really go into that here, but it is something that we are now seeing, and that if this situation were to continue to get worse, which many people do think it will, we could be looking at possibly more violent incidents like this from much more radical elements vehemently opposed to the way that many of the immigrants in the United States are being treated. As more inhumanity is being carried out against the immigrants, the more violent the resistance to it is likely to become as a result. And this is a phenomenon that we've seen throughout many countries throughout history. The harder you repress people, the harder they are going to rebel against it. So we could be very well looking at more violent acts like this in the future against ICE agents. Even on social media thus far, there have been posts detailing how to sabotage the vehicles of ICE agents. One of them being that if you were to cut the air valve on a tire, be sure to do it to at least 2 tires on the vehicle. That way, a spare couldn't be used to just go. That's the kind of thing that they're doing. I am not endorsing that in any way, shape, or form, but that's something that's being sent around on social media. And there are other much more dangerous things being placed on there, but that's the kind of political environment that we're looking at right now when it comes to the more hardcore elements of resistance to the way the migrants are being treated in the United States. And it's something that we should watch out for in the near future.
So did Facebook spoil all the fun for those cryptocurrency users? Well, some might think so. This is after they announced they too would be going the way of Bitcoin by introducing their own cryptocurrency. Now, Trump earlier this week questioned the legitimacy of Bitcoin, saying it was based on thin air. And those comments came right after the Federal Reserve said a regulation of the cyber currency was needed. So now Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin has thrown his hat into the game, and he is saying that cryptocurrencies like Facebook's Libra pose a national security risk for the country. So joining me to discuss is investigative journalist Ben Swann. Ben is very much involved in cryptocurrency, knows a lot about it from the very beginning. So you would be an expert to tell me, is cryptocurrency a threat to national security?
It is not a threat to national security. However, it is a threat to the national monopoly that the U.S. government and the Federal Reserve Bank have on printing money. It is absolutely a threat to that, Scotty. Look, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin being the first one, were envisioned upon one idea: peer-to-peer trading and transactions, removing the middleman known as the bank. More importantly, removing the central bank. When governments have the ability to print money at will, to cause inflation at will, to absolutely control the economic future of the people, and the people have no freedom in it, that's not a free system at all. And what President Trump and Steve Mnuchin have done is they have chosen the side of economic authoritarianism instead of economic freedom. That's what they've done with this.
Well, and that's my thought, because is President Trump's comments on a Bitcoin based more, do you think, on his unfamiliarity of cryptocurrency, or is it because he truly has been told and believes that it is a threat to the dollar and our current system?
Well, it is a threat to the dollar. So if that's what he's been told, he's been accurately given that description of cryptocurrencies. But that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Economic competition. You know, all these Republicans who pretend they're free market guys, they're not free market people. They believe in no competition within the space of money and finance and currency. They don't believe that there should be competition there. And so they continue to endlessly print money. By the way, I want you to think about something very important here. You know, when President Trump makes the claims he makes about Bitcoin, many of them are antiquated, right? This idea that, oh, it's used by drug dealers, it's used by drug cartels and human traffickers. Guess what, boys? Human traffickers and drug cartels and drug dealers all accept US dollars too. They also accept that financial fiat currency as well. And by the way, one other point, I know I'm very passionate about this, and these guys have me ticked off today, Scotty. But this idea that Bitcoin is based out of thin air, what is the US dollar based out of? Other than men with guns and women with guns. That's really the only thing that backs the US dollar, is the US military at this point. It's also based out of thin air. It is fiat currency, meaning coming from the old word that means by decree. That's what all central banks have inside their vaults, is fiat currency. Cryptocurrencies are a challenge to it, and that's why they don't like it.
Well, and they might not like it, but they're obviously going to a great extent. When you throw around the term threat to national security, especially in the world that we live in today, that invokes fear. That invokes the emotion of being scared, and people obviously don't want to have anything to do with it. Some do. That being said, they still have to justify that type of accusation, don't they, in the world we live in today? So you said drug dealers, that's not a national security issue. How are they using to justify that accusation?
Because they'll claim that it's a threat to national security, because foreign governments can use it, because, you know, terror organizations can use it, just like terror organizations use U.S. dollars. So is the U.S. dollar a threat to national security? See, I agree with you. The terminology, and the reason I'm really upset about this is their ignorance does not bother me. President Trump is ignorant about cryptocurrencies. He's just ignorant. Or as we say down here in Atlanta, he ignorant. Same thing for Steve Mnuchin, right? But what they're saying is not out of ignorance. It's out of devising a strategic way of dealing with cryptocurrencies. When you're absolutely right, slap the label of national security risk onto something, you're saying we need laws, prevention, maybe even an outright ban. And by the way, you start talking about an outright ban. If you want to make Bitcoin worth more tomorrow than it is today, talk about banning it, because that will cause all these cryptocurrencies to shoot right up through the roof.
Well, and that's the thing right now. The more that they talk about it, obviously those people that would initially invest in it go, this is why I'm investing in it. If the government doesn't like it, I'm going to be the person that actually probably invests in it. That being said, Facebook kind of threw all of this into a loop when they decided that they were going to get involved in it. How does the crypto world feel about Facebook now diving into their playground?
So, look, crypto has already existed prior to Facebook. What Facebook has created with the Libra, I've said this before, is not a cryptocurrency. It is a digital currency that mimics many of the facets of cryptocurrencies, but in and of itself, it's not truly a cryptocurrency. And without getting into all the details of that, which we could do on Boom Bust, what's important about this issue is that when Facebook has talked about doing this, what they did was they essentially said, we're going to challenge through digital currency the central banks of the world. And that's why the central banks have reacted so harshly to it. But I believe, and this is simply my belief, that it's not Facebook and Libra that the central banks are concerned about. It's the fact that Facebook would become the gateway. Libra would become the gateway for so many hundreds of millions, billions of people around the world who are unbanked to discover cryptocurrencies. The way Libra would be set up, it would not bank the unbanked. But other cryptocurrencies do. Cryptocurrencies like Dash and SmartCash actually bank the unbanked. And when you bank those people, it eventually bypasses central banks completely. I believe that's what they're afraid of. It's not Facebook or Libra, it's people being led to these other cryptos, and Facebook would lead people to them.
And that's exposing them to a whole new market that might never have even thought about cryptocurrency in the first place. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us. And you are right. Watch Boom Bust, that I'm sure they're going to be following this story every weekday here on RT America.
Well, I'm just going to have to do a part 2 to this because there's just too much going on right now. But here's what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz. What had happened is pretty much, though, this is their evidence as to what was going on, this false flag that was done earlier on April 30, 2019. So here's their video evidence. Iran actually rescued that ship. Remember, this was the Japanese oil tanker that Iran was quote-unquote guilty of laying mines on. I believe that's what this is dealing with. I'll read more on the article in a minute here. Alright, let me read this article. Yeah, pretty much what this is IRGC seizing fuel smuggling foreign tanker. Okay, so this was earlier this year. I don't think this has anything to do with the Japanese one, so look out for that. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has released footage of foreign tanker smuggling fuel which was seized by its naval units in the Persian Gulf near the Strait of Hormuz. A local IRGC Naval Command post published the details of the seizure in a statement on Thursday. According to the statement, the incident took place to the south of the Iranian Larak Island in the northern part of the Strait of Hormuz on Sunday. So, it was smuggling oil, alright? So pretty much, though, they've released their evidence of what's going on there. But wait, there's more. Now you got this going on. Bahrain to host U.S.-led confab against Iran amid tensions. So they're trying to build the coalition up, you know, because they think that, okay, well, we'll just go into Iran just like we did with Syria, Iraq, and Libya, right? You know, and they don't care that Russia's being thou guard unto them. And there's a fucking terrorist state, Mike Pompous, and, you know, trying to get their coalition. The Bahraini regime plans to host an international conference led by the U.S. with a focus on what the tiny kingdom and its allies call Iranian threats to the security of the navigation in the Persian Gulf, months after Washington hosted a similar belligerent forum against the Islamic Republic in Warsaw. So, again, the U.S. started this via the UK seizing Iran's shipment of oil going to Syria. So, you know, now they're trying to get a coalition. Because, of course, Persia has said that they're going to respond to that. You can best believe they will. The conference will aim to reach a common understanding on addressing the challenge posed by Iran, said the Bahraini minister. The comments come after Washington said last week it was seeking partners for a military coalition to safeguard the strategic waters off Iran and Yemen. So there's why Yemen's being attacked, because we know that the Saudi royal family are nothing but them gutterets, them fake-ass Arabs. They're not real Arabs. They're fucking Amalekites. Several oil tankers were targeted near the Persian Gulf last month, with Washington and its ally Saudi Arabia quickly blaming Iran for the suspicious attacks, which you know those are false flags. Tehran has rejected the accusations of its involvement as baseless, saying the incidents in the Sea of Oman appear to be false flags meant to frame the Islamic Republic. So you see it's right there. But wait, there's more. U.S. allies flex muscles against China with Pacific drill. Again, remember, Asia is mentioned in 2nd Esdras chapter 16. So they're doing their naval exercises just like they constantly do against North Korea. Now they're trying to show off their might against against Moab. The United States and its allies have launched a major military exercise off the coast of Australia in the Pacific region in a move that seems to be part of America's policy shift towards confronting China's growing influence in the region. More than 35,000 forces from the U.S., Australia, the UK, Canada, Japan, and New Zealand took part in the war games, which began off Australia's northeast coast, began on Wednesday. The combined amphibious landing and practice assault, dubbed Talisman Sabri, also featured 30 ships and 200 aircraft and involved simulated scenarios including war at sea, attacking ships, and land invasions. According to officials on board, the exercise led aircraft carrier, the USS Fuck Reagan. The USS Fuck Reagan said F-18 jet fighter jets. Wow, they reiterated that word, jet fighter jets. Okay, I thought jets were jets. Nonetheless, though, that flew along with P-8 spy planes and combat helicopters to fulfill their training missions. We're really honoring our war fighting skills, U.S. Rear Admiral Carl Thomas, a strike group commander, told the Wall Street Journal. So, again, thinking that the U.S. will never be destroyed. You know, it's the greatest piece of shit on the face of the planet. Oh, wait, they wouldn't say piece of shit. I say piece of shit. All right, hold on. There's more. And this is from Zero Hedge. Pentagon fears Turkey, a.k.a. Gomer, and all its bands to retaliate against U.S. troops in Syria over new sanctions. Well, that'd be great, you know. But you and I both know, though, that Gomer has its own reasons for being there. Well, this is the Most High has drawn him in there. As expected, Turkey blasted the White House's prior day announcement that it has killed Turkey's involvement in the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter program after Ankara received a first batch of S-400 Russian-made air defense components starting last week. Turkey's foreign ministry called on the U.S. to rectify its mistake. The unilateral step is incompatible with the spirit of alliance and does not rely on any legitimate justification, the Turkish foreign ministry said in a strong worded statement immediately following the White House press release. We call on the United States to come back from this mistake that will cause irreparable wounds in our strategic relations, it said. The White House has stated while confirming it would indefinitely block the transfer of the F-35, Turkey's decision to purchase Russian S-400 air defense systems renders its continued involvement with the F-35 impossible, and added, the F-35 cannot coexist with a Russian intelligence collection platform that will be used to learn about its advanced capabilities. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this little video here. Oh, wait, no, they just cut it off. I mean, you see, that's fucking Esau for you. Over the past week, Turkey appears to have amassing its forces near the border of an upcoming assault on U.S. allied Kurdish forces in Syria's northeast, which you and I both know that the Kurds are used to protect ISIS and pretty much are ISIS. America's defense officials fear Turkey's military could be tempted toward retaliation against U.S. forces currently assisting with the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are the terrorist groups, over new U.S. related Turkey's S-400 deal with Russia. So, you know, things are heating up right there. But wait, there's more. Of course, we're talking about the other fuckface here, the Ronald McDonald. Trump tells U.S. Congresswomen to go back to the countries where they come from. And you can see that all these Edomites are in cahoots together with this. U.S. President Trump on Sunday told unidentified Democratic Congresswoman to go back where she came from prompting senior members of the party to brand him a racist and xenophobe. It is the latest controversial comment by Trump, who last year reportedly referred to countries in Africa as shithole nations. Yeah, I remember that. And then you've seen these proud-ass Edomites get on the defense. And who has spoken of an invasion of undocumented migrants, AFP reported. In a tweet, Trump referred to progressive Democrat congresswomen, which appeared to be a reference to a group of outspoken, relatively young liberal women, all first-time members of the House of Representatives. Yeah, but what it really is the fact that these are Jakes. These include Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, which are all Jakes. So again, you know, Trump did not say whom he was referring to, but said they originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe. Yeah, because the U.S. has put sanctions on them and bankrupted their countries. But yet, Venezuela and Syria and all these other places are getting together, and it's like, wait a minute, we have a common enemy here. The worst, most corrupt, and inept. Oh yeah, Amalek is a great place to go to, a.k.a. the bastards dwell in Ashdod, right? If you're a Palestinian And like Apostle Tahar says, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them Palestinians are in fact Jakes. He accused the women of viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. You know, and that's just it. They live on stolen land. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Well, that means you'd have to get the United States out now, wouldn't you? Omar, who fled war-torn Somalia as a child and came to the United States as a refugee, is the first black Muslim woman in Congress. You see how 2/3 of our people are still idolaters, but you still see, though, that 2/3 are in this war. Tlaib, who was born in Detroit and the first American of Palestinian descent elected to Congress. Didn't I just mention that earlier? Ocasio-Cortez, who was born in New York, has ancestry from Puerto Rico, a.k.a. Ephraim. That's a racist tweet, Assistant House Speaker Ben Lujan, the highest-ranking Latino member, which, you know, is the Northern Kingdom, said on Fox News Sunday. These are American citizens elected by voters in the United States of captivity. Congressman Don Bayer of Virginia said in a Twitter post, this is undisguised racism, misogyny, and xenophobia, and everyone in Congress, regardless of party, should condemn it. Embassy News reported. And either way, though, you know, pretty much Esau's shown his hatred towards us. And of course, Esau hides behind his weapon, aka the modern day sword, which is the gun. You know, here's some more Edomites showing their perpetual hatred for us, just like the scriptures say.
Got a whole bunch of paperwork.
Hey, we're trying to, you want to get out of here fast, right? So if we have more people, y'all been trying to something. You want to get out now?
Racist ass
no, that's cool.
I bet she had that badge on, she wouldn't call us no nigga.
I would still say it because what I'm doing is repeating your words.
Repeating your words. Meanwhile, back in Syria,
the situation in northwestern Hama and along the entire contact line around the Idlib de-escalation zone has remained stable but tense during the past week. The Syrian Arab Army, the Tiger Forces, and their allies have repeatedly engaged in local clashes with Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, formerly Jabhat al-Nusra, and other radical groups. However, no side has undertaken any notable offensive operations. Fresh satellite images of the Russian Khmeimim airbase showed the deployment of 7 Su-24, 4 Su-25, 7 Su-34, and 4 Su-35 warplanes, as well as an A-50 airborne early warning and control planes, an IL-20 electronic intelligence plane, 2 IL-76 planes, and an AN-30 cargo plane. The warplanes were all deployed on the airbase's ramp. This indicates that the hardened aircraft shelters are still under construction. New revetments are being built in the northeastern section of the airbase. These measures are needed to prevent any damage that may be caused by repeated armed drone attacks by militants. On July the 14th, a terrorist attack targeted a gas pipeline linking the Al-Sher gas fields in eastern Homs with the Ebla gas plant, temporarily knocking it out of service. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack. However, ISIS cells are known to be operating in the Homs Desert south of Al-Sher. Eastern Homs witnessed several attacks by the terrorist group in the last few months. Earlier, on June the 22nd, a sabotage operation targeted several underwater pipes of the Banyas oil terminal on the Syrian coast. The attack damaged 5 oil pipes, forcing Damascus to take emergency measures to repair the damaged infrastructure. A unit of the Russian military police survived an attack by an improvised explosive device, IED, in the southern Syrian governorate of Daraa on July the 13th, a chief of the Russian Reconciliation Center for Syria confirmed. The attack led to no casualties. According to the Russian side, it was carried out by the remaining cells of illegal armed groups. Pro-opposition and pro-Israeli sources immediately speculated that the attack may have been conducted by some Iranian-backed forces. Nonetheless, these speculations were not reinforced by any facts. The Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, received at least 1,730 trucks loaded with military supplies from the US after the formal defeat of ISIS in northeastern Syria last March, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, SOHR, said on July the 14th. According to the UK-based monitoring group, the last two shipments included around 280 trucks loaded with logistics and military supplies. The US decision to continue providing the SDF with military supplies, including armored equipment, is a demonstration that Washington still considers employing its proxies in some kind of open clashes with other actors involved in the conflict. Taking into account that the US has already declared the defeat of ISIS, the only possible targets left are the Syrian government in central Syria and Turkey-led forces in northwestern Syria.
So you can see, though, that this has been the utter rhetoric, that Assad must go. You know, they're going back to their original plan, which is all a Zionist plan. And like I said before, I'm just going to have to do a second part to this because time is running out. And I really don't like to go over 2 hours in just one video part when I can just easily break it up into the second part. You know, so like everything else, I'm just going to go on to Apostle Tahar's video that the mark could be here as early as 2020.
Shalom, Apostle Harkman back at you with the truth, giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rakah Kodash. And I'm going to entitle this video, Mark of the Beast to be implemented by 2020. I was watching a video earlier that the Apostle Ramla put together dealing with an article with Elon Musk and Neuralink. So what I did was I put in Elon Musk Neuralink, and I got these three news companies. I mean, if I there's more than these three. Someone put up 5 hours ago, 9 hours ago, 10 hours ago. Okay, you got one put up 50 minutes ago, 57 minutes ago, 20 hours ago, 20 hours ago, 21 hours ago. Anyway, what I did was I went, you know what I'm going to do? Let me just go to the first one. It said Elon Musk wants to, and by the way, we already know the scriptures. Revelation 13, as a matter of fact, I will read it real quick. Revelation 13. We here at Great Millstone, we don't believe that this may be the chip. We don't know. We're in a wait and see mode. We know that this right here, Revelation 13 chapter, from the 15th verse on down, is definitely the microchip technology. So I'll read it. It said Revelation 13 verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. A lot of Jakes out there don't even know who the beast is. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as both speak, so the beast be able to speak. You got a lot of people out there that don't know what that, doesn't have no clue as to what that means. The beast, who is the beast, number one? What does it mean that the beast is going to speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image. Now, what is the image of the beast? And it's not the picture of Cesare or Caesar Borgia. They're not going to go around with a picture. Ain't no Edomite going to go around wearing a suit and tie and bringing out behind his back a picture, an image of Caesar Borgia, and you have to bow down to it. That's not going to happen. It has nothing to do with the picture of Caesar Borgia or Cesare Borgia, which is that image of the so-called Jesus Christ. It says the image of the beast should be killed. So there's not going to be a scenario of a guy that's going to bring out an image of Caesar Borgia or Cesare Borgia and tell you, look, you got to bow down to it or I'll kill you on the spot. That's not going to happen. That's bullshit. Reading on, 16th verse. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. The word mark goes back to the word charagma, which goes back to the word charax. Matter of fact, let me go to it. We already know this. I don't even have to read the scripture. You in the know already know this. Charagma, a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead of the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist, which the blue letter people got it half right. The mark is actually a small device about the size of a grain of rice that will be placed in your right hand or in your left hand or in your forehead, which is the interface of you receiving that mark in your brain. And we're going to go back into the article, and I'm going to pick out a particular word out of that article. Anyway, it says, or the mark stamped on the foreheads or the right hand as the badge of followers of Antichrist. There's no such thing as an Antichrist. The scriptures don't tell you about an Antichrist. A guy is going, and you got a lot of Christians, you got a lot of Israelites, you got a lot of wacky people that think they know the Bible. They're looking for an actual guy, and they're gonna say, "Oh, that's the Antichrist. He just popped out of that building. He just came out. He just came out of the number 2 train on 34th Street or whatever, wherever that train stops, and that's him. That's the Antichrist. You people are living in a fucking fairy tale fantasy world." It goes on to say the mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. So now let's go to the root of charagma, which is charax, G5482. Charax, a palisade or stake. A palisade or rampart pales between which earth, stone, trees, and timbers are heaped and packed together. Stake, if you ever watch any of through the years, the Dracula movies, you know, there's 2 ways to kill him. You gotta, well, I think there's 2 ways. I think you shoot him with a silver bullet, and the other way is you gotta impale him with a stake. It's a piece of wood, like a dowel, that's been cut in a way to make it like a pointy at one end. And what they would do is they would take the stake, after they threw some some garlic on his ass and took the cross and put it on his forehead and burnt the cross on his forehead. You know, shot him with a silver bullet, and then when he's lying down on his back, belly up, then you take the stake or the karax, and then you nail it into his heart, and then he dies. You know, that's all in the realm of fantasy. And so the device that they use to put the chip in you is a needle which has that pointy edge to it, and that puts the chip inside your hand. Now, the way to put it in your head, you would have to have a brain surgeon to open up your skull in such a way to get to your brain, to put it in your brain. So they're not going to use that particular needle. I don't know the way they're going to do it, but they normally give you videos of someone getting it put in their right hand or in their left hand. Okay, so let's go back to this article here. It says Elon Musk wants to hook your brain directly up to computers starting next year, which is 2020. So what I did was I went to the actual article, and if I read all the articles, you know, this would be a long video. I don't have to make this long. A lot of these videos that we're putting up now are quick hits. We go straight to the point, and we give you the information. Then we'll give you a scripture, maybe 1 or 2 scriptures, maybe a handful of scriptures as the Spirit leads us. But we already know the scriptures on the mark of the beast. Actually, let me go back to. Let me bring this back to Revelation 13. And I don't know what you other camps are waiting for, man. Great Millstone has a 100% truth. You better hop on this train or you're going to get run over. Anyway, it says in the 16th verse, which we read, I don't know how many thousands of times, Revelation 13 verse 16. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, charagma, which goes back to the root word karax, which means a palisade or a stake. Like you put a stake in the heart of Dracula to kill him, in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now it says in Revelation the 20th chapter, it doesn't say right or left hand, it says in thy hand. Now in Europe they drive cars. The driver's seat is on the right hand side, and here in the States it's on the left hand side, the driver's seat. So, and I guess that's why they would put it in your left hand. I guess you use your left hand more over there in Europe. But if you notice, you got these Europeans, they'll get an actual chip, and they openly do it. They don't have no problem with it. Why? Because they don't know the scriptures. Why? Because they're not Israelites. It says 17 verse, and that no man, and that word literally means man or woman, might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, the stake, the chip, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So this is a system set up by the beast. And like I said, you got people out there that don't even know, they can't even identify who the beast is. They'll say it's the Antichrist or the anti-type inside joke. Anyway, let's go back to the article. It says Elon Musk wants to hook your brain directly up to computers starting next year, which is 2020. Now, I don't know if they're going to actually succeed in doing it. It could be, and hopefully that this thing really gets pushed the end of 2019, the beginning of 2020 into the middle of 2020 into the end of 2020. You know, we're hoping and praying that everything moves quickly, because as soon as the chip is implemented to the majority of the world, then the end shall come. Then everything's gonna move quick. It's not gonna be. I don't see it being a thing where the 98% of the people gonna get the chip, and this system gonna go another 10 years. I don't see that happening. I see that once they fully implement that chip, I see that this thing is gonna move so fast. It's gonna be months. It might be 3 months. It might be 6 months. That's the long haul, you know. 6 months. I see everything moving quick, and everything speeding up, and the Most High speeding this thing up. And by the way, this is the Most High's technology. The mark is the Most High's technology. Who gave this technology to the so-called white man, the Edomites? The Most High, to fulfill prophecy. It said the Tesla and SpaceX founder announced a goal implanting chips into human brains as early as next year to create direct human connection to computers. It goes on to say, Elon Musk, the futurist billionaire behind SpaceX and Tesla, outlined his plan to connect humans' brains directly to computers on Tuesday night, describing a campaign to create symbiosis with artificial intelligence, merging man and machine. He said the first prototype could be implanted in a person by the end of next year, 2020. So I looked up the word symbiosis. Let me read that again. It says his plan to connect human brains directly to computers on Tuesday night, describing a campaign to create symbiosis with artificial intelligence. So now let's look up the word symbiosis. Got to look up your words. Symbiosis.
Symbiosis.
Symbiosis. Which means interaction between two different organisms living in close physical association, typically to the advantage of both. So this is the merging of man and machine, creating androids that actually live, breathe, and eat, and can do what an android does. A mutually beneficial relationship between different people or groups. In this case, it's talking about putting technology into you. So you're going to be part AI, artificial intelligence. So let's go back. It says he said that the first prototype could be implanted in a person by the end of next year. Arriving at the goal will take a long time, Musk said in a presentation at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco. Well, it won't take a long time if the Most High is behind it. Like I said, I'm going to say it again. This is the Most High's technology. These are the Most High's prophecies. So the Most High, I see the Most High pushing this thing. And Esau can't say, well, we're not going to do it, because this is fulfilling the prophecy of the Most High. Just like, give you an example, Alexander was chosen by the Most High to take down the Medo-Persian Empire. And when he saw the priest, I believe his name was Jada, which is like a funny way of saying Judah. He was one of the high priests that encountered Alexander when he was taking down the so-called dark nations. And he bowed down to this high priest, and the priests that were among them, they were wearing long white robes. They wasn't wearing T-shirts with fringes on it. And he bowed down to him and gave him gifts. And they didn't understand why this was happening. And he said, this is the man I saw in my dream. He said he saw that the high priest and those other priests around him. I mean, you can actually go to the account in the book of Josephus, and it actually tells you the account. And I believe it was the priest that opened up the book of Daniel and showed him in the book of Daniel who he was. Like he probably went to, and I got to go back to it, but it said in the book of Daniel. So anytime you read about Alexander in Daniel the 7th chapter, when you read about the Babylonians being taken down by the Medo-Persian Empire, and then the Greeks taking down the Medo-Persian Empire, he probably showed him that. Well, I got to go back to see exactly what verses he showed him, but he had to have showed him Daniel the 8th chapter. So the reason why Alexander did what he was supposed to do, because he was set up. So I just gave you an example of man's goings of the Lord, even Esau. Hey, look, Donald J. Trump was put up there by the Most High, and he'll most likely be the man that leads America to the war of Armageddon, and we hope so. He's the right guy for the job, Donald J. Trump. Anyway, it says arriving at the goal will take a long time, Musk said in a presentation at the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco. Nothing that's securing federal approval, because that's part of the beast, for implanted neural devices is difficult. And now that goes into a whole thing of whether, because people's not going to want to take it. There's going to be there's going to be Edomites out there that's going to say, I'm not taking the chip because it's the mark of the beast. You got a lot of Bible Belt Edomites, the Midwest, down south. You got a lot of Edomites because Edomites, look, there's a lot of Edomites that know a lot more than you simple-minded bird-brained Negroes. Anyway, it says nothing that's securing federal approval, because anything they do, they have to get the approval from the government. For implanted neural devices is difficult, but testing on animals is already underway, and a monkey has been able to control a computer with his brain, he said. It says Musk founded Neuralink. You can look up Neuralink and get more articles on Neuralink. Neuralink Corp in July of 2016 to create ultra-high bandwidth brain-machine interfaces to connect humans and computers. That's the next big, the next quantum leap. Look that up. It said the company said in 2017 that its initial goal was to devise brain interfaces to alleviate the symptoms of chronic medical conditions. They're going to use it in the name of, if you're suffering from MS or Alzheimer's disease, or you're blind or you can't hear, and they're gonna put that device in these people, and people will say, well, I'm able to, I don't shake anymore, or I can see now, I can hear, I'm no longer in a coma, Anyway, that's all I'm going to read on that. Like I said, I wasn't going to make this long. And I'll leave the link of this in the description box. Also, what I'll do is you'll see the other articles. If you put in, like I said, all you got to do is put in Elon Musk, go to Google, put in Elon Musk Neuralink, and that should, click on that, or Elon Musk Neuralink, the mark of the beast, however you want to put it in. But if you put in Elon Musk Neuralink, you'll get this article. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to leave this article in the description box. And with that, I'm going to say Shalom. It's on to the next one. Like I said, we're doing these videos straight and to the point. So, this nonsense of 5-hour videos, ain't nobody got the attention span for that. We do these little 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute videos, man. Anyway, with that, it's on to the next one. Shalom. And the mark of the beast is right around the corner, and the whole world will see the manifestation of the mark of the beast, which is the microchip technology. Shalom.